Propaganda might seem to dominate the stage in the Second World War, but it began long before. Arguably, Japanese national mobilization toward the expansion of empire began in the early Meiji era, but it took full root in the 1890s in the country's attempt to dominate East Asia. It was not, as always, of course, a smooth process, nor was Japan's victory preordained. In actuality, the linchpin in the early modern era can be traced back to August 1886, when several naval vessels of the powerful Qing dynasty Northern Fleet pulled into the port of Nagasaki in southern Japan. This was the start of imperial conflict between a Qing dynasty flexing its muscles and the upstart Japanese feeling the impact. Japan was only 20 years into its Meiji project to renovate the nation, and judgment was still out whether it would be able to succeed and modernize. Along with numerous other ships, the Qing fleet included several massive ironclad vessels, the prize of the squadron being the Dingyuan and the Junyuan. The Dingyuan was considered one of China's premier warships and dominated anything the Japanese maintained in their arsenal. In the late summer of 1886, within a few days after docking during its tour of maritime East Asia, dozens of Qing sailors from the ships had a rollicking time in the Maruyama red light section of Nagasaki. Riots with Japanese police and the public escalated to the point that pleas from local officials to the Qing consulate in town were dispatched. In the end, the disturbances left 74 injured, with 2 Japanese and 5 Chinese sailors dead. The Nagasaki incident, as it came to be known, created a notoriously bad image of Chinese naval behavior on the archipelago. In part, this interaction unleashed a competition for supremacy in the region that would continue to feed behavior on both sides, pushing the Japanese to develop their subsequent imperial superiority. Following the incident in Nagasaki, the Japanese encountered these same vessels 8 years later in naval skirmishes during the Sino-Japanese War of 1894-95.